NRL news. Let's kick it off. Parramatta versus Zac Lomax.
Well, Zac Lomax signed a deed of release, right?
Yeah. So go back, though. He was signed with Parramatta.
For 4 years.
4 years. He'd done one.
One, yes.
He then signed, as you said, the deed of release.
Yep.
What are the conditions of that?
He can't sign with another NRL club for 3 years.
For the remaining 3 years of his contract?
Correct.
He signed it, so done. And what was the purpose of that, though?
Well, to restrict him. He was signing with R360.
That's right.
For the big
And
big
they were
bucks.
talking $3 million a year.
Yes.
Now, as we said last year, R360 didn't fold, but they then put off 12 months and said, no, we're not doing it this year. We're going to do it in 2020.
It's 2028. So it's got put off for 2 years.
Yeah, so it was going to come in at the end of, or start in October this year.
Yep.
And now they've said, no, we're going to do, I thought it was 2027.
No, it's 28.
Okay, 2028, so another 2 years away. So, he should have really known that before. And Peter Volandis said, this was amateur hour by R360. If you want to do this, be very careful. So he put them all on notice.
Yep.
So Zac didn't listen.
No.
And then he signed the deed of release. R360 doesn't happen.
Yep.
And now he's without a club.
But here's the other thing he did. He was going to Perth for the rugby union, right?
Yep.
One of the Perth Reds or
Western Force,
whatever they are. They're only offering him 200 grand.
That's short of probably about 550,000.
He was on 600.
Yeah, so
he was short 400 grand, right? So he don't want to play. The Japanese rugby didn't want him. Rugby didn't want him as a whole, right? So then he's gone back to the NRL pool, but gone to the Storm want him, right? Because they need outside backs.
Yeah, they do.
The mistake machine, Will Walbury, all those sort of things, that they need him, right? The problem they've got is that it's like, you put it in business terms, right? If I work for an employer, right, and they have a gardening clause, if you're in upper management, right, they have a gardening clause. You might do 6 months where you can't work for a competitor.
And I've heard of that. I've heard of people selling businesses and basically...
Well, the business is 2 years.
Yeah, but also if you sold a business, you can't work within Sydney. You can't be, as in, like, I've heard of people that have owned bottle shops that have sold them to major organisations, and they've turned around and said, you're not to open another bottle shop in Sydney for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And they're well compensated for that. They're not just, it's not a restricted trade. You don't have to sign it.
No.
You don't have to sell it. You don't have to sign it. No. And like him,
and
you don't have to walk away.
If you do sell it and you do sign it and all your stuff, they'll sue you.
This is the second time he's walked away on a contract.
Yeah, with St George he walked away as well. My point is that if you made a decision because you were going to get better bucks and it fell over, right? It's like being an employee. If you sign a deal with another company and then that falls through and then you want to go back to your own company and they say, no, you can't do it.
It's a risk.
He can play English Super League. He can play in rugby.
Yep.
It's not a restriction of trade as in you can't do anything else,
no.
right? And that's why when they were talking about R360 and they were saying if anyone does it, we're going to ban them from rugby league for 10 years. If you didn't have a contract, I don't think they could have done that. But the fact that you had a contract and he was walking away, he's now reaping
what he sowed.
What he sowed with his greed to go and earn $3 million a year.
And the thing is, the Melbourne Storm have come up. Parramatta have said to the Melbourne Storm, we want Jack Howarth.
Yep.
I think they might have said Corey Oates.
Yeah, Coates.
Corey.
Coates.
Xavier Coates, or someone else. And the Storm have rightfully said no. We'll give you, I think, $200,000.
But $200,000 will not go in the salary cap.
But this is the thing. Like, I love what Parramatta are doing. Parramatta have said, stuff you no, we'll take you to court to get this enforced. The NRL have said, oh, no, we will have to mediate this if Parramatta's not being reasonable. What's reasonable? They've lost an Australian representative, outstanding back.
Yes.
Who was at one of the best in the game in his position last year.
Yep.
And now they're going to come in and say, no, it's not reasonable. That's crap. Like, you can't tell me that. I wish the Tigers have taken this stance with Lockie Galvin.
I agree, totally.
Because they got $100,000 and whatever else they got, which was bugger all, and he walked out the door. This is a well-run club saying, no, he's walked away from us. We want to be compensated for this. And I think finally making someone
I think there was a payment from the Dogs to...
There was. Was
the
it-
Tigers.
There was. I think it was about $100,000.
Yeah.
It wasn't much. But I think that the Parramatta's well within their rights to do what they're doing, to hold him to account. And I think that the NRL is wrong to come in and say that if Parramatta's not been reasonable, we'll step in. No. I disagree with that completely.
Totally agree with you that the contracts all mean nothing if he's allowed to play.
And they already do. They
Mean
already
nothing.
do mean nothing.
If you can sign a release and have a contract stipulation that you cannot play in an NRL team and then turn around and go, that doesn't apply to me because the money I was going to get didn't work out.
This isn't a rant. This isn't my rant. But this is, I'm telling you, this shits me to tears that when Lockie Galvin was going through this, everyone, because it was Channel 9 driven by that
Gus Gould,
flea of a human saying, oh, the bullying, we've got to be careful. They're bullying him. It's all, what about his mental health and all this stuff?
Oh,
it's
they played the legal card as well.
And no one has come out and said that about about Lomax. Not one person has come out and said, oh, what about his mental health? What about him? He can't go and play anywhere. No one said a word about it because Parramatta have played this with a straight bat and they're being 100% transparent.
That's because
in their
they're
actions.
A well-run organisation.
Exactly right. But also too,
we're going to get onto the Tigers.
No. But again, I'm not saying I'm beating up on the Tigers here. I'm more beating up on the fact that when there's an agenda driven by the media, they will then pick and choose what they do. And this is exactly what's happened here. Zac Lomax should be held to this contract, and the media, again, with what they did with Lockie Galvin to make the Tigers a bad guy was wrong. And that was driven by that flea Gould who got what he wanted in the end, which is, you know what, and we all got what we wanted was when they went out in straight sets.
Yep.
So
we loved every minute of it.
Minute of it, mate.
But here's the problem with the NRL, Fox Sports, the Daily Telegraph, all the major media outlets, is they're all connected. The narratives come from inside the NRL or inside the media organisations. Yep. That's why this podcast is awesome, because we don't give a shit about any of that stuff.
But some people were on the Tigers side, obviously, with Braithen Astor was very vocal about it, as were others. But because Gould and obviously had the say and wanted his man, the agenda of being bullied came out. Now, I have not heard that once for Zac Lomax.
No.
And at the moment, he can't play footy.
It is a different situation. The Dogs poached.
Yeah.
Poached Lockie.
Yeah.
But Lomax did it all to himself.
Yeah, that's
a self-inflicted wound. Mate, Lomax should be suing his manager.
Well, you don't know what conversation's been had, though. He might have... If
the manager wasn't turning around saying, mate, you're mad, you shouldn't be doing this.
Well, that's what I mean. The manager might have.
By the way, it was only a week or two after he got his release from Parramatta that the 360 fell over.
Yeah, but they also fell over. Like, Volandis was the one that said, you're following a pipe dream, do not do it. This is amateur hour.
Yeah.
No one listened. Or, sorry, everyone did except for him.
Yeah.
So, mate, I'm not saying I'm glad what's happened to him, but I think that
I think
he's
sometimes you get held to, we all make mistakes, right?
We all do
but
make mistakes.
You get held accountable for your actions, and he got greedy, and he's getting held accountable.
Why can't he go back to Parramatta?
Because Parramatta don't want him now.
Well, then that's different. If Parramatta don't want him, you can't.
But they've already moved on with another player.
Yeah, they have Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Very good player. But why can't Parramatta get him back? Why can't, if it's to hold him to the contract?
He probably spent his money that he was allocated him.
Does that change things then? The fact that, well, I've signed a contract, I can't play for an NRL club. Why can't I come back to you?
Well, because he's been released and then he's got a contract in place. So
I don't know then. That changes it.
I don't think Lomax would go back to Parramatta.
Well, no. I think the damage is done.
I think there's animosity there.
Well, there would be.
So,
but you walked out. But I'm just saying, it's fine to say
you don't think he walked out.
For us
you don't think he did it on the up and up. He would have been agitating for a release, and
they do.
He'd been carrying on, and he would have been dragging his feet at training, and there would have been all sorts of shit going on.
All right. Next story. I can't really. You have spelt this atrociously. Anyone? Keon Kilamatangi.
Yeah,
from South Sydney, going to the Dragons for 5 years, starting 2027.
I got that off the article.
Yeah, it doesn't look right to me.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't spell for shit. So
quite clearly. But I love it.
I think it's a great deal.
Yeah,
I think South missed out.
Yeah, they did.
I think they handled that poorly. They did pay overs for him.
Yeah, it's overs.
$1 million a year, but I think front row.
Well, front rowers now are showing their value because they just take you forward constantly. And
he's a mobile front rower too.
Yes.
That's the Payne Haas type mould.
Yeah.
And they're the players you want.
At the moment, they're the ones that are showing the way.
You don't want the junior Paulos. They're just too big and the game's too quick now.
Well, you only get them for 40 minutes a game, right?
Sometimes you get them less. Like the speed of the ruck is so fast now.
That's right. So Payne Haas and Kolomatangi and that, they give you 60, 65. Like Terrell May is getting 80.
Yeah, but the guy's a freak.
Yeah, he's a freak.
Runs marathons after training. That's how much of a freak he is.
But again, I'm just saying, like, they're the ones you want. I love that the Dragons went out and got their man. I think it's brilliant. Good on him.
Well, mate.
He can change a team overnight.
Yeah,
that's what I.
Got a good halfback there in Flano.
I'll stab you in the eye with this pen. Like, seriously, you just push me. Angus Crichton signs with Rugby for 2027.
Yeah, I think they're blowing up a bit. I read an article today that they were saying that where's the lifetime ban for him going to rugby? Mate, again, that would be a restriction of trade. If he's out of contract, he can go wherever he wants. So he's on big money over there too. So
Marky Mark is going to rugby in 2027.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. The narrative.
That's a bullshit. That's a bullshit call. You're not going to ban him. As I said, that is, as you said perfectly, it's a restriction of trade. This is not a restriction of trade. What they're doing here. No. I think that he's well within his right.
He's at the end of his career. He's only got 2 years. He got paid. Let him go.
I think it's a very smart move by him because a second rower, I think your body starts to really feel the role, and he doesn't play at anything but 100%.
Yeah.
I think going to rugby, he'll get an extra 5 years.
Possibly.
I believe that. That's what I do, and I think that.
I only line up 3 metres between each other. You're not taking the big hits like you are.
Did you see the brawl that they had on?
Yeah, he smashed him, didn't he?
In the Waratahs. Like, the guy didn't realise the guy was actually on the ground getting pounded and then got up and wanted to fight again. I don't know what happened. I don't know who was in the wrong, but...
He said something about his missus, obviously.
Far around. If anyone wants to see it, we should try and put it on the Insta site.
Okay.
The Waratahs had just a training session and... 2 players just went the knuckle. And
you've had that at training, though, where the guys that you're training against gets a little bit...
Yeah, it's a lot of testosterone flying around, and you do get a bit antsy.
Especially if there's a cheap shot in there or something like that. You get a bit carried away, and you feel more comfortable bashing one of your teammates. I'm sure they're best friends.
I was going to say, blokes usually just shake hands and move out, and, next... Yeah,
especially when they... Did you not want to talk about Perth?
I've gone down the order here. What have I missed?
Isn't there?
Okay, let's talk about Perth. Should the NRL be concerned with Perth's lack of ability to sign any players?
Or quality players?
Yeah.
All right, well, there's their team list.
Yep, okay, so...
Mick Mooney's a good player.
Nick Mooney at fullback, Sean Russell, wing, Harry Newman and Chris Vaiella in the centres, Luke Lalani on the other wing, Tyron Wishart and Toby Sexton make up your halves. Liam Henry and Isaac Faisal-Moani are
That's why I gave you the sheet, because I couldn't say that.
Isaac is the brother of Tino.
Yep.
They're your front rowers. Luke Smith, James McDonnell and Josh Curran are your backs.
Curran's not a bad player either. That's not a great squad.
I think that is a team you can build with.
I don't think Toby Sexton's the strippers are on, Jace.
Dave booked the podcast room when Manpower were performing.
I thought we were Manpower.
I was ready to take my clothes off and ready to go.
Sounds good to go. That'll stop it.
We should just get up there. Excuse me, we're here.
That'll clear the joint.
I know what you're saying. I do agree it is a weak team, but I do see there are some good players in that team.
Mate, that team's... Wishard's a good bench player. Mick Mooney's a good centre. I don't think he's a great fullback.
No, look, they're not. I think it's a team.
I'll put it to you. You put that together with what the Dolphins had when they started. This team's shit.
Yeah, I agree. They're lacking where they are lacking is a quality young half to come over, and
that's it. But they've only signed They only signed 12 players. They've got to get to 30. Where are they getting them from?
Oh, they'll find them. They'll find them, mate. I do agree. I
don't think it's going to be... I think they're going to come last.
Yeah.
They are going to struggle big time.
Yeah, and then Papua New Guinea coming the year after.
Well, that's the other thing. How's Papua New Guinea? I don't think they give them long enough to sign enough players.
Well,
1 year.
No, they didn't. See, this is the thing. They had longer, but they said that the
Well, you can't approach players.
No, you can with permission, and they were saying that the Bears didn't approach anyone.
I think they did, but it wasn't. They didn't ask for permission.
No.
They were approaching people without permission.
Well, that's not the story being told. The story being told is
They
that
sacked the bloke over it.
yeah, but everyone gets sacked. No, they were saying that they didn't, in the sense that some clubs are saying, look, no one's just asked the thing about the Bears coming through.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe, but I agree with that. I think that
and PNG, we've already said they're going to struggle
big time. That's a political move. I hate when political and sports meet. I don't like it. Anyway.
Roger that.
Next one, good friend of the show, Paul Kent, has cancer.
Yeah, he's got throat cancer. Came out the other day.
He's very confident they got it early, and he's very confident he'll beat it.
And I think that's great.
So I really like Kenny.
I do too. I think he's a great man. I will have a whinge though.
Oh, man.
No, it's about the media.
Yeah.
So the media did a story on both the Daily Telegraph and News.com, right, about him having cancer, and then ended it with his affray charges. I just think that's disgusting.
It is.
It's such a low shot.
And also, too, he lost.
Did you see that they went in?
No, I
they
didn't
started,
see it. You know what? I don't watch the news anymore.
I don't watch it either.
I can't stand it.
But this was on...
Oh, the new, Daily
News.com. I
Telegraph and all that,
I only read that shit on the
but
internet.
I agree. He has paid his price. Like, firstly, he was charged with DV that was tossed at court.
Yeah, he went through hell over that.
Yeah, went through hell, stood down again. And there's a story within that, and I won't go into it, but that he should never have been charged. Secondly, he then has an affray.
Yep.
And has a blue with a bloke-out thing. It comes off second best, loses his career over it.
Yep.
And he's rebuilt himself to come back with this. The media love to punish and keep punishing and punishing and punishing. I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong. In saying that too, he's going through cancer. Don't even mention the affray, mate.
That's my point. Why would you mention it?
Because it's clickbait.
Because it's bullshit.
It's clickbait.
It's not clickbait. It was at the end of the story.
They want to sensationalise it, mate.
And it's bullshit. All right.
The next one is the proposed kick rule change, which has a lot of people blowing up.
Well, I tell you, I think the thing is that no one understands it. Now, my first understanding of it was that the team that scored the points got to choose how they were going to receive the ball.
That's what I understood.
Apparently, that's not the rule.
What's the rule?
Apparently, is the team that got scored on gets to choose how they're going to restart the game. That's because they're trying to take the momentum out of the game.
I like taking the momentum away because
I do too. So if it is, and then from my understanding, I saw I listened to a podcast the other day that was talking about it, that they've got everyone's got it muddled up, that it's actually the team that gets scored on gets to choose whether they're going to receive the ball or they're going to kick the ball, right? I don't know why you would choose not to have the ball in your hand. So technically it's going to be the team that gets scored on will receive the ball.
I don't know. I mean, if you get scored on and then you're behind, you're in the lead, you could elect to kick and let your defence win the game.
Yep.
Rather than risk a short kickoff where they can get the ball back within 50 metres. You know what I mean?
It depends. If you're 18 in front, you might kick it.
Yeah. They should, yeah.
To make them
I do like that they are trying to look at ways to make the game a bit more even.
Yep.
Because you do see teams just blow out and it's a carnage. It'll be interesting. I think a lot of multis will be ruined because of it. I can see it now.
I can see you being angry.
Oh, I'll be angry. All
right, let's go. What's the next bit?
Do NRL players get on the gear, otherwise meaning performance-enhancing steroids?
Yeah, all right, so there's a 6 weeks period where they don't get tested. Yeah. Now, let's have a pact here. We're not mentioning any player's name. I do not want to get sued.
Okay.
Right. But there's players that look like they're chiseled out of stone. And it happens every year. They come back from their little vacation and they come back jacked. Absolutely jacked to the tits.
I don't know if they would. And I say that because you can be jacked for 6 weeks, but then, I don't know. But wouldn't you want to maintain
the performance-enhancing drugs is not only about getting jacked. It's about getting rid of injuries and
Yes.
they get on the peptides and they do all that sort of stuff.
I don't know.
I personally think they're all on the gear.
You reckon they're all jacked?
Or, well, you look at some of them at the moment.
I did, yeah.
I've seen one bloke
Yeah,
He was passing the ball, right, and his arms look like my legs.
Mate,
I ain't got big legs, but Jesus Christ. And then another bloke was in the paper with his shirt off.
You remember in the late 90s, Newcastle, they were all on it. They all
Was the Storm.
And they got done the Storm. Rodney Howe was the big one. He was just the angriest man alive, and there were others, obviously, that did. And it was a real thing, and then they came out with the bans, and, I think Robbie O'Davis got done, and a few others did.
Yep.
So I think that there was that time when everyone seemed to be on it, but I don't know. Look, maybe they are.
I used to not work with, but he was one of the fire contractors or something. No, his name was Morven Edwards. He played for the Panthers. He wrote the Panthers theme song, like Boring You, Sleeping Over There.
Oh, yes.
And he played for New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
And the Australian team, he played a test against the Australian team. He was only about 18, 19. He was playing fullback, right? And he said to me, mate, these blokes were chiselled out of stone. He goes, mate, he just smashed you.
Well, they said that with Rodney Howe.
Rodney Howe was in that side.
They said Rodney Howe would run at you, and Gordon Tallis, I think, put in his book, you would hit him with everything you've got. And he was like, yeah, what else is next? Like, what do you got? That's it.
Yeah.
And Gordy's like, I've hit him with everything.
I don't think Morv was 80 kilos round wet. If you ever have a look at whatever game that he played for New Zealand, I think he played a couple. He was like a little schoolboy out there with the land of the freaking monsters, mate. They were huge.
They'd be petrified.
Oh, I would have been.
All right, we've got the Benji Marshall 5-year extension of the Tigers. I don't want to talk about this.
I do. I want to go into a little bit here, if you don't mind, Jason.
Go.
And you bringing your wife, or what are you doing?
I'm talking to everyone. Go.
I'm a little bit pissed off about this situation, right? So the Tigers blew their board up, blew their club up basically.
Again.
And then there was a rumour running around that they were going to sack Benji.
They wanted to, but from what I understand.
And then all the players said,
if he goes,
and there was 7 or 8 players that were...
Yeah, the key players, Luai, Coruscant, a lot of the guys that have played, obviously with Benji, but also in that came away from Penrith. They all love Benji.
Okay, that's fine. But how smart is Benji to get all these blokes to put in their contract if they punt him, they can go?
It's very smart.
So what sort of organisation, from an administration point of view, aligns their players with a coach? So if the coach is underperforming, right, that they can't get rid of him because they're going to lose all their good players. That's a disgrace. And
hang on. So you haven't seen this team and their management over the last 10 years?
Just another nail in their
coffer.
They'll never be successful.
This is the same team that sacked Madge Maguire.
Yeah, I know. But we can't coach.
We can't.
No.
Clearly
can't coach.
So this is a team, as I've said to last year in my rant, this is a team of failures. Yeah. They accept their failures.
No, it's not. It's failures from a level that's unseen in the world. Like, you literally box yourselves in to mediocrity.
Yes.
Based on the decisions that the board makes, the administration of the club makes, and the players and the coach getting together to say that if I don't perform, mate, he's 5 years they gave him. Yeah. He's not out of the joint until 2030.
I know.
The guy can't coach.
No, we said this last year.
So if you're a smart organisation, you don't sign contracts aligning your team. Like, two things. Manly align with Isaac Moses, right? Roosters won't have anything to do with him.
Yep.
Roosters won't sign a contract that align themselves to a coach, right? They won't put themselves in a box where if you're not good enough or you're not performing...
You're saying everything I agree with. And this is a rabble of a team and a club and a mismanagement. This is a joke. This is what we're saying. This
one
is
of the
a
most ridiculous... Like, I'm not smart, but I'm not stupid enough to do that.
They had a great administrator in Shane Richardson, proven success.
Well, mate, he was signing some of those contracts.
They sacked him.
Yeah, but how smart is he when he's aligning players to coach?
But I think that the Tigers are damned if they do and damned if they don't, because if they can't have this contract, the players will probably sign elsewhere and they go, oh, shit, we've got no players
they're
again.
overpaying them anyway. They would have come for the money.
Yeah, no. Well,
look how smart. Look, if I was a coach...
The Dogs are offering Luai just as the same money, mate. So I think that is lost on a few people. Like the Tigers do, yes, they overpay, but other teams are willing to pay
Yeah, but if you
as well.
run a club, you would
you let the
administer a club.
lunatics run the asylum.
If
I
you
agree with you,
administer
mate.
the club properly, you will attract players.
But
they're
no,
going there
success does that as well.
Mate, it's not not if they're all signing and saying I've got to be part of the coach's contract. That's
look,
bullshit.
I agree. I just, if the Tigers again come out like they did last year, which they will play good 40 minutes of footy. Benji will come out and say, yeah, we've got to get them to play 80 minutes, and it'll be the same rhetoric again.